In the 1960s, Bridport was still an uncluttered village with many empty blocks. The river estuary was largely undeveloped. This shows the Fisherman's Wharf area, including the building that was once a Forester Inn. The early 1970s saw building of the trout farm by Alec Purvis with the help of Niels Blichfeld. Pipes to supply water to the trout farm can be seen on the right-hand side of the photo. Auntie Belle's Brimelows house is still standing, and large areas of Bridport were still open for development. A comparison showing the same area in 2022. In the 1980s, parts of the Fisherman's Wharf had been improved, but large-scale boat building facilities were yet to come. Many people will recognise the rivermouth area before the dredging and rock wall changes were started. The old black jetty and sandy beaches inside the rivermouth were popular swimming spots. The Bridport foreshore in the 1980s was largely untouched in terms of natural vegetation. An interesting letter to the paper later expressed concern at the loss of natural vegetation, as it will leave the area exposed and windy. It is often remarked, you don't value what you have until you lose it. The short-lived experiment in solving the access problem for unloading the catch was the Black Jetty. The jetty might not have solved the problem, but the local kids really appreciated it. The estuary has changed significantly since this 1980s photo. The river has been dredged and rock walls built and the channel straightened. In some ways, these images take you back to a more relaxed and easygoing lifestyle. In 1980, discussions were taking place in the Scottsdale Council regarding the rapidly deteriorating Bridport Hall. Someone commented, "It's a pity it didn't burn down." Well, surprise, surprise, it did, not long afterwards, and so Bridport had a new hall. The foreshore in front of the village green has seen some significant changes. The shoreline has migrated further seaward due to the extension and increased height of the river retaining walls. Sand drift along the coast has built up this area considerably. Where Mrs. Gofton's beach shack stood next to the beach, the present surf club at the same location is now further inland. We will now take some steps back through time, looking at Bridport's Main Street. In the 1920s, you can see the hall, Barnett's guest house and Suter's shop. In 1962, the street has been sealed, the hotel has a bar, and there is a phone box and petrol pump outside the post office. In the 1980s, the road has been widened and we have curb and guttering, street lighting. Bridport now has a chemist shop. 20 years later, we now have angle parking, a shopping complex between the post office and Henry Street, and a visitors centre. In 2021, we have parallel parking, roundabouts, a street cafe, wider footpaths, and those curious speed bumps with pedestrian crossing white stripes. Bridport continues to develop through local initiatives, providing even more facilities for the ever-increasing number of visitors. So ends our journey back in time along Bridport's Main Street. In 1983, Bridport came together to celebrate its centenary. Many embraced the moment and paraded in period costume and vintage vehicles along Main Street to the village green. We even managed to find old 8mm movie film that captured the event. The changing faces of Bridport, Fisherman's Wharf, the old black jetty, and Smythe's Bayview House. 1985, and the age-old moves to rebuild the Granite Point jetty were showing promising signs of progress. But note, this was to be a commercial pier capable of loading and unloading cargo. There was much fun and action at the Bridport Sailing Club's regattas at Croaky-Lawn Beach in the 1980s.
Lines on number 4, got on the far line. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, the racing is very, very close, and this is no exception. We've got line number 1. This must be a good line, this one, ladies and gentlemen, because number 1 has got the lead again. It's going to be awful close to second place, I think. If it continues on the way it's going, I think Ronnie One's going to be the winner. It's hard to travel where I'm standing here. Right, give them Ronnie.
All ready?
All ready up here.
Set.
One down, number 2. And away. That's a good break again. Finish the line, ladies and gentlemen. I would say that finish 1, 2, 3 in those lanes. The stars in this race, ladies and gentlemen, cart number 81, Keith Gillies. Righto, they're right up here, ladies and gentlemen. Lane number 3, it's McCurry, so I can't see.
Before I hand you over to Robin, push and pay attention to Robin. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much for coming along. This is the race fleet, which is just down there. The swim's 500 metres. You'll swim out at a bit of an angle to a buoy.
Order of the teams is Team 77 first, Team 68 second, then came Team 71, Team 79. I think see how easy he slipped into that. He's had a bit of practice later, I think.
On our journey through time in Bridport, we've seen many changes from when Bridport was a few small buildings around the junction of the Brid and Great Forester rivers, to a modern seaside town that reverberates with activity during the summer months. In 1917, Mr. Heckra said, with foresight and common sense, we can make Bridport a model township of Tasmania. In recent years, with changes to the Dorset planning scheme, there is a move to allow higher density residential building that will impact on the relaxed, open lifestyle once a feature of Bridport. Higher density housing might be appropriate in cities and suburbs, but do we want it in Bridport? The increased housing density will also have negative impacts on water supply, stormwater runoff and parking issues. While much money and effort has been expended in improving the human environment of Bridport, less has been done to protect and retain the natural environment, and we are in danger of losing what is special about this place. In concluding our Bridport story, I have put together snapshots from the last 20 years, showing what I think makes Bridport so special.